Hi Aquarius, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your January 2022 tarot reading. I want to wish you guys a happy early birthday to those of you celebrating January. And also hope you guys are having a good holiday season and you have an awesome new year. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic spread as always, and also pulled a couple of Oracle cards and a Mudra card for you guys. But we'll actually start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus will be as far as that goes. So let's see what we get. Okay, we have Pisces. So for you guys, that's your second house of finances and possessions. We have 5, fifth house, so that's Gemini. At the time of recording this, we haven't had that full moon in Gemini yet, but it's coming up. And fifth house, of course, relates to romance, creativity, children. And we have the Sun. So at the time of recording this, we're still in the Sagittarius season, but of course in January we're going to have the Sun in Capricorn for the first few weeks, then it's going to move into your sign. So makes sense that that would come up as an area of focus, but we'll move on to your main spread. All right, in the main situation position, we have the High Priestess. So I feel like this is saying that you guys are being a bit withdrawn and relying on your intuition. On the one hand, it makes sense as far as when we tend to have transits throughout 12th house, we tend to be in a bit more of a low energy cycle and we might be a bit more reclusive during that time. But yeah, at the same time, on top of that, we're going to be in Capricorn season, like we said, early in January. Then on top of that, you have that Venus retrograde going on there. So it makes sense that you could be in more of a reflective mood at this time. All right, in the challenge or obstacle position, we have the Star card. So this is actually the major arcana card for your sign. So for this to come up in the challenge position, I could see this as it's maybe saying that you might be getting in your own way as far as you might not feel comfortable trusting your intuition at this time, right? To where, you might actually know the path and what steps to take, but for whatever reason, you might be second guessing and doubting yourselves. So that's primarily what I see coming out there. For others of you, this could just be saying, of course, this is the card that comes after the Tower card. So for some of you, this could just be saying that you might have gone through a bit of a rough stretch lately, and you might still be trying to figure out what all of that was about. But whatever the case, I feel like as you go through that process, you will start to see the reason for those events. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Knight of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy, and the Five of Cups, which is Scorpio energy. So for some of you, this could just be saying during Sagittarius season, which, like I said, at the time of recording this, we're still there. It could just be saying that you guys might have gone through a disappointment or even been reflecting back on a disappointment from your past that might have taken place well before Sagittarius season. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. Or for others of you, you might have just been really quick to act on something and it might not have gone the way that you had intended for it to go. That's another way I could see that playing out too. All right, and the past position, we have the Nine of Wands. So yeah, this is another Sagittarius energy here, represents the middle 10 degrees of Sagittarius, so it could be pointing to that timeline for the majority of you, saying that that might have been when this happened. Given that this is a reading for January, it makes sense for that to come up in the past position. So yeah, could just be saying that it has you feeling a bit guarded. Could even be around a friendship or just the groups that you associate with, or you might have felt like there was a bit of conflict and disappointment around that. All right, in the present position, we have the Moon. So to me, this is another indicator saying that you're going to have to really try to rely on your intuition this month. Like I did say, at the time of recording this, we're still in Sagittarius season. I haven't had that full moon in Gemini yet, but maybe that'll help give you some insight into the situation. So for those of you who watched this when I first posted, definitely keep an eye out for that full moon and what type of energies take place around that time. But aside from that, this could just be saying in general. The way I usually explain the moon card is it's similar to when you're in a room that you're not familiar with, right? And if the lights were to go out in that room, you might not feel comfortable navigating through that room without fearing that you will knock something over or bump into something, right? So in those situations, you tend to be a bit more cautious with how you move around and feel your way through the situation. So that's what I feel like you would have to do here too. And again, like I said, that reminds me of what we saw with the High Priestess energy as well. All right, in the near future position, we have the Three of Wands. So this is Aries energy here, which for you guys is your third house communication. So this could just be saying that you're waiting on some communication around the situation. For some of you, like I said, it could be around your workplace possibly, or the groups that you're dealing with. That's a possibility. But yeah, it could be any area of life, but it looks like you're waiting for some communication, maybe to validate what you might already be feeling, right? So you might have a hunch about something, but you're like, all right, I don't really have the proof yet. So you might just be waiting to see confirmation of that. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Tower. So, I mean, if there's one spot that you would get this in your spread, I suppose this would be one of the better spots to get it, because this shows on the one hand that you would actually be the one bringing this Tower energy out. So for those of you who do want to create a Tower moment where maybe there's something that you want to get rid of from your life, then obviously this shows that you have the ability to do so this month. But also, on the flip side of that, this could just be saying if you would rather not have a Tower moment, right? Of course, there can be certain situations where you may actually want something rapidly removed from your life, and other situations that might not be the goal that you're going for at all. So to see this come up here could just be giving you that bit of a warning to say that, hey, make sure that you're careful with how you navigate the energies this month, because if not, you could end up causing a Tower moment if you don't intend to. So that's why I see with that. And that could be another indicator of why they're saying to rely more on your intuition this month too, as opposed to just rushing into something or speaking before you have the information, things along those lines. All right, in the environment position, we have the Hermit in reverse and the King of Wands in reverse. So if this involves your energy, this could just be saying that you're trying to stop overthinking around the situation, right? Possibly around a romantic connection, or possibly even if there's someone that you have an interest in and you've been trying to evaluate, hey, would this be a good person to enter into a relationship with? I feel like this is saying you might come out of that cycle of just perpetually thinking about it this month. If this is someone in your environment, though, could just be saying that they're not really able to put much energy into the connection at this time either. Now, they might have gone through a cycle of overthinking, but I feel like in that process, they might have felt like they're not quite ready yet. So that could be what's at play there. See if anything else comes to mind with these two. Yeah, I would say if this is someone else in your environment, they might feel like they're at a loss in a certain situation. So it might not even directly be related to your connection, but because of that, they might be a bit more withdrawn. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Ace of Swords. So I'm going to assume for you guys this is more of a hope, right? Which is to say, so you can get out of that thinking about things and trying to feel your way through situations. I feel like you'd rather just the cold, hard facts come through, right? And that could be what you're waiting for with that Three of Wands energy. So that's what I see with that. And in the outcome position, we have the Knight of Swords, Gemini energy, the Queen of Wands, Aries energy, and the Queen of Swords, Libra energy. So interesting mixtures here, because it's almost like going through a filter, right? We see the Knight of Swords representing Gemini, and then we see Aries, which is your house of communication, and then we have that Queen of Swords, which is Libra energy, which for you guys is your ninth house. So on the one hand, this could just be saying that you might actually be called to communicate around something, but this to me, given that it's Gemini energy, is another indicator between what we saw with the moon and also the fifth house, which is Gemini for you guys. I feel like this is saying, for those of you especially who watch this right when it first posts, just be on the lookout for some insights that you might get around the time of the Gemini full moon. And then around that might actually help you get some insight on what you want to do next as far as communicating. And it looks like there can be some balance restored within the situation. At the very least, it looks like you'll be able to see things from a much more balanced, higher perspective too. So there could definitely be some information coming your way. I will say, given that the Tower card is there, like I said, for those of you who don't want to create a Tower moment, just be mindful of the fact that you might be able to come across with this type of energy, and that could throw things out of balance if that's the case. So just try to be a bit more measured with your communication if you're not trying to create a Tower moment. There is the fact that on top of the Venus retrograde that I mentioned, you guys are going to have Mercury come into your sign pretty early in January. And it's actually going to be in shadow all of that time, then it's going to start a retrograde and eventually go back into Capricorn. So there could definitely be some potential for miscommunications. Obviously, not the end of the world. We still have to live your lives, but just be mindful of that energy being in place, and then that could help you measure yourselves as far as, when to say things, how to say things, so on and so forth. And bottom of the deck, we have the Lovers. So Gemini energy again here. So yeah, there's quite a few indicators here for me that say that something that's going to take place around the Gemini full moon is going to give you some insight into a situation and help you move forward with it. And the good thing is, beneath that, we also see the Nine of Cups, which is a wish fulfillment energy, and it's Pisces energy too. So for some of you, if this is around some finances, you could see improvement there too. All right, moving on to your oracle cards. First, we have Always Do Your Best. All right, and it doesn't want to focus. There we go. It says Don't Overdo. There's the artwork for it, and the message says always do your best, but don't overdo. When you overdo, you deplete your body and go against yourself, and it will take you longer to accomplish your goal. So interesting message there. Don't overdo thing. That could be possibly a warning for you guys in that regard with the Tower, right? Where there could even be a potential for you guys to be overactive with that Knight of Swords energy and potentially burn yourselves out, right? So it could just be saying to take a bit more of a measured, balanced approach, be more receptive this month as well, as opposed to just going out and trying to make things happen. Maybe the message there is to let things come to you in that regard. So hopefully that resonated. All right, and next we have Time to Go. There's the artwork, and the number is 45. Okay, it says endings, completion, walking away from something because there is nothing else to learn or experience. The Oracle's message: you are at the end of one journey and have not yet begun the next. This is the moment to bless your experience thus far. Take stock of what you've learned. It's time to move on to new experiences and a new way of being. There is nothing left for you to do, be, or experience in your present circumstances. Take the risk and move on, even if you need to be in transition for a time. Your destiny is calling you. All right, so hopefully that message resonated with you there. And then the relationship message says it's over, or at the very least, the form this relationship has taken is no longer of service to you or the other person. This is a time of letting go, of knowing that the journey has come to its conclusion. It doesn't mean anything is lost. Although this card could speak to a breakup, drifting apart, or the end of a soul contract, it is more about release than destruction. Remember the saying, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours. If not, it never was. Endings are always a sign of new beginnings. If you want something deeper, walk away. So definitely an interesting message there, especially about the part where it says it's more about release than destruction. So that could go back to what we're talking about with the Tower moment, right? As opposed to if you want to create that Tower moment versus if you don't. Either way, this is a good card to see in that spot because it gives you a little bit of control around that, right? And then with the Hermit and King of Wands in reverse, like I said, someone in the environment, whether it's you or another person, if it's a one-to-one relationship, might feel like they're at a bit of a loss. So those two things together would tell me that if this is a situation that you wouldn't necessarily want to end, again, this would be a good time to remember the fact that we do have the Venus retrograde cycle that's still going to be going on in January, and it's in your 12th house. So there's definitely the potential for confusion there. So if you're not hoping to end something and it does end, keep in mind it might come back together maybe into February or even March. And also keep in mind I'll be doing the love readings next week, so you could get some more insight there too. The prosperity message says the message is clear. The path you've been on with your work, creative projects, and business alliances have come to an end. You will not find the success you desire by continuing with what is now in front of you. This is an auspicious sign because there is no choice that will benefit you other than risking stepping into the unknown. It is time to walk toward something new. This card also pertains to the more neutral concept of completion. You finished your task and can rest assured that this ending will open up a powerful new avenue of opportunity, even better than any you can imagine. You have done all you can, now trust that Spirit keeps the plan moving forward. Fortune requires you to conclude this chapter of your life. And remember that when you close one door, another opens. So definitely a pretty interesting message there as far as opportunities go. I will say you guys are going to have a full moon in Cancer in January. So that's in your sixth house of work daily routine. So yeah, for the majority of you, I feel like that would represent more of a completion, like they said, as opposed to, like, let's say, a sudden job loss or something like that. So I wouldn't freak out if I were you, if that's what you think that message would point to. All right. And moving on to your Mudra card, we have Mudgara Mudra. There it is there. And the keyword for it is loyalty. All right. And let's see if we can get this to focus. My camera isn't being very loyal right now, but let's see. There we go. All right. So now we have everything in the frame. If you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say. But under benefits, it says increases courage, virtue, and loyalty, stimulates the immune system, activates the body's self-healing power, and according to the yoga tradition, facilitates the healing of major diseases such as cancer. So if you feel like that would be a mudra that would be beneficial for you guys, we'll put the name of it in the description of the video as always. Once again, happy early birthday to those of you who celebrate in January, and hope you guys are having a good holiday season and an awesome new year, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.